First of all, this is your technique to protect your personal bits so you don't get punched in the groin by a goat. Second of all, come on, chubbies. Food train your goatee goats. Food train them. Nope, you try it again, Mar. Good job. Ow, okay, you got me. I wasn't watching. Well, you just got peppered with alfalfa, so the other girls are going to love you all day, goofball. What is up, guys, and welcome back. We have here for you a fine viewing pleasure today. 8 lovely ladies. Good morning, beautiful ladies. Are we 8 or 7? How many are we? 7 or 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7. Maybe only 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I always miss Javachino because she's such a big girl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, only 7 girls. 2 of which. Hi, Miss Tapioca. 2 of which we are keeping. Tapioca. I know, baby. I don't know. I don't remember who your mom is, so there's that. Who is your mama? Oh, your mom is Miss Mississippi. Isn't there a country song there? Miss Mississippi just walked through the door. Got it. Oh, yeah. Hank Jr. way back in the 70s. I believe that is part of the song All My Rowdy Friends are coming over tonight. Hi, boys. All right, guys. So, I know nobody's coming at me. I'm not saying anybody's coming at me. Just trying to clear up some information. So, the lids are always on the buckets, except when I'm in here working. There will be a time or occasion when I do forget to pop the lids back on the buckets. Like right now, I see the alfalfa bucket is cracked open a little bit, so I'll have to get back in there and fix that lid. I do always try to keep the lids on the buckets. The big tub over here has a lid on it, and the little buckets over here that I use for leftover bags, like that bag of sunflower seeds has about half a bag left in it. I'll put that in a bucket, and then I'll seal that. So I do keep all the lids on the buckets when they're not in use. It's just sometimes I get finished and I'm ready to record, so I record the video, and then I'll go around the barn and pick up stuff or clean up stuff or let out other goats like Miss Struzel, or make sure all the gates are locked back. So just because you don't see the lids on the buckets while I'm shooting video doesn't mean the lids aren't going back on the buckets. And honestly, I probably shoot 30 minutes worth of video in the morning. I edit that down to roughly 18 to 20 minutes generally. Like right now, for instance, if you were just watching the video, you would say, oh my gosh, the boys don't have any water. I started recording, it's hot, and I finished up feeding everyone, and I don't want them trapped in their stalls, and I didn't want the boys trapped in the barn. I do lock the boys away at night just to make sure nothing gets at them. The big boys I don't worry about. I don't think anything is going to come mess with them. We don't have any large enough predators around here, generally speaking, to probably even attempt to take out one of the boys. They are in a 4-foot high fence. I know 4 feet of fence. We had a bobcat around here last year, spotted on trail cam. If that bobcat really wanted to jump in here and fight 4 bucks and try to kill one and eat one, he would never be able to drag it out of here. We do have coyote around here. Yes, I'm sure they could clear the fence. We've had animals over here for 6 years, and we've never had any problem with predators inside of the fences. That doesn't mean it couldn't happen, but you can only prepare for so many eventualities, and then you just have to let it ride. But that being said, since they are baby boys, they would be up and about as soon as the sun comes up. And I don't want them out here messing around, getting in trouble. And I also don't want them unsecured at night. So I do close them in the barn. Now, if you'll look down through there, another thing I want to, you see a spool there. that they play on. You'll see a bunch of trees down over there that they run up and down on, they play on, they dance on. So they do have toys, if you will, in here. I haven't built them anything. It took me like 3 extra weeks just to get them popped over here, popped over there, pop, pop, pop. As I like to say, we do run a real farm. We do run a real soap business. We do have real lives. And generally speaking, this YouTube channel, the soap business, and maintaining the goats' food, water, shelter, milking, all that kind of stuff takes up anywhere from 15 to 17 hours a day. So I don't have just a bunch of time to, I don't even have a lot of time to get little projects done that I need to get done or want to get done. So I'm not making excuses. The goats have natural toys that they play on. I do have a couple things out there, the pipe. I'm actually getting ready to, hopefully today, there's a 2x6 over there near their little black pipe that Mr. President Snow jumped in. I was like, look at me, I'm in a pipe. I'm gonna put screws on that. The problem is it's not as simple as that. I can't just screw the 2x6 to the pipe because the screws are gonna come through the pipe and then they're gonna be a safety issue. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to get it where I can grind off the screw heads from outside with my little arm inside. So we'll figure it out. How do we keep President Snow so white? Well, he's just a little angel. We don't do anything, guys. We don't brush, we don't wash. I washed Tiny Her because that was different. He had a little bit of poo stuck to him. He was a little dirty guy because he was close to the ground. And so he was going to his new home and obviously I couldn't send him to, not that I wouldn't wash the poo off of him anyway, but it became priority 1 to get him cleaned up and ready to go. Sometimes we end up in situations where highest priority item wins. And so I hate functioning in that space, but often with the schedule that we currently have, that's what I end up doing. Priority 1 things. Something small. I mean, anytime any of the goats, like for instance, Mississippi and Drummy, I don't know where either one of them are. Drummy's right there. Come down with coccidia. They were immediately treated right away as soon as I saw it. I texted H I got them out, I weighed them, I texted H their weights. She drew up the meds for me. I went over, got them, I came right back over and administered the meds. And today they're both fine. So Mississippi was also a little wormy on top of her coccidia, so that drains them down pretty quick. She's, if you guys own goats or have ever owned goats or know people who own goats, they still have, even though they're captive animals and they've grown up on this farm, they still have that natural instinct about them to hide weakness, to hide sickness. And that comes from, you know, if you're a goat in the wild, any prey animal or any predator animal is going to exert the minimum amount of energy to get a meal. And what that generally means, and it's almost symbiotic with nature, that they're taking out the sick, they're taking out the weak, they're taking out the old. As a predator, they're generally just keeping the herd strong. Sick, weak, tired, old animals would slow the herd down. But the herd is not necessarily, to a certain degree, just going to leave them behind and let them die. So what they're going to do is keep pace with the old and the slow and the sick and the weak. And it's a detriment to the herd. So, you know, nature always balances, and predators are going to go after those sick and the weak. So just circling back around some goats, and if you guys remember Jack, he was master at hiding being wormy. We were also struggling with eradicating worms from him. And I say this often because it's important that I get a lot of comments and emails saying, you know, so-and-so treats their deworms their goats every month. They don't have any issues. They deworm, you know, and what that does is you're not fixing the problem. You're creating a problem. You're not, they haven't made any goat wormers or any new dewormers in a really, really long time. And I don't, from what I've seen and what I'm looking at, I don't see anything coming down the pipe. So there's no new wormers out there under the sun that I'm aware of that are even coming. So the problem that you're creating, and not, you think, you know, 8 to 12 years is the average lifespan of a Nigerian dwarf. You think I kept them healthy and happy for 8 years, killing off the worms, keeping them good and solid. Your best bet is to let their bodies create immunity to that specific worm and strengthen your herd that way. There are a lot of people out there who actually have a prettier goat than Mr. Snow. False. False. That can't be true. It can't be true. Look at your beautiful eyes, Mr. Marlin. Who work under the laws of nature, essentially, with creating immunity within their herd by letting the weak die from the worm load. And the kids that are born that are strengthened by that immunity to that specific worm, what they do eventually is they breed the worms out of the herd instead of breeding the herd out of the worms. What I mean by that is, what your dewormer does is it attacks the worms and the eggs. But every time you do that, every time you go through a life cycle of a worm, any worms that survive that deworming process, any worms that survive that medicine, and this isn't coming from me, this is the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, this is the Ohio State University Sheep and Goat Team, this is Michigan Department of crap. Well, I'm not going to remember the Michigan because they're up north. I don't get into the OH. Anyway, so there's a lot of sources that I've read throughout our years of having goats that what you're actually doing is every time a worm survives through a life cycle of your dewormer, it passes that little bit of genetic immunity to those worms. Now, say a very popular dewormer out there is called Safeguard. It is either albendazole. It is either albendazole or fenbendazole, and I don't remember which one it is. Safeguard is either albendazole or fenbendazole, and then valbazen is the other one, albendazole or fenbendazole. So we'll just use Safeguard as a point of reference. Safeguard is a dewormer. It's considered not a broad spectrum. It kills several worms. Valbazen in the bendazole family is a broad spectrum dewormer. So it'll kill all the worms that Safeguard kills, but it kills a whole slew of other worms as well. Safeguard is considered, your white dewormers are considered your safe dewormers. It's almost impossible to overdose your goats on your white class dewormers. And so anyway, so you say you give your goat Safeguard once a month or once every 2 months. Every time a worm survives that deworming, they pass that little bit of genetic information on to the next worm. Now that little worm that's born is then a little bit stronger and a little bit more resistant to fenbendazole. Maybe they survive the life cycle, they pass it on to the next. You see where I'm going here? It's a little domino effect. Every life cycle of those worms gets a little stronger and a little stronger and a little more resistant and more resistant and more resistant to that dewormer until eventually the worms that live in and on your property are resistant. Hey, hey, what's going on? What's going on? We're gonna break up this. We're gonna break up this moment with some Tic Tac. Hi, sweetheart. We got your tongue out. Boop boop. You got your tongue out, Miss Tic Tac. You're such a beauty. So now, instead of what you think you're doing is, well, Muffin lived for 8 years on this farm. She never had a worm issue. She passed away. I don't have a worm issue on my farm. Incorrect. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you. Every worm on your property is going to be resistant to your fenbendazoles, your albendazoles, your mectins, all the mectin class of drugs, which something like ivermectin. And you guys can look all this up. Most of the dewormers that people use in livestock are actually created for humans. They're essentially down to what would be considered third world countries at this point. They're still using, like we use Pyrantel as a dewormer. That is actually created and used to originally treat pinworms in humans. And, you know, we've moved past that, but there are countries around the world that are behind where we are, and they still use that. It's an effective drug. It's way cheaper than all the new stuff that's out there, and it works to treat pinworms in humans. So it's essentially that. But what I'm saying is, there's going to be a point where there's probably about 8 dewormers that exist for goats, and once you have all the worms on your property resistant to those drugs, you're toast. Your herd is toast. You might as well start over. As you breed and you have new babies, you're going to think that you're ahead of the game. You're just going to lose in the long run. And so we've followed the information that we found from different universities around the country supporting just deworming as necessary. There's a reason there's a FAMACHA test out there, and that is so you can quickly and easily pull down your goat's eyelid, look at it, see if it's pink or not. Because well, I didn't want to pet you anyway, Miss Sparkle Pants. You're not very sparkly today, you weenie. So we do a lot of FAMACHA tests. We just walk around and I'll grab somebody's face and pull down their eyelid. Good jump. Tiny thing, you're not so tiny anymore. Go get your mama. I don't know where your mama is. She don't like you. So I've showed you guys how to do a FAMACHA test before, where you just, are you going to be my friend today? Let me do a FAMACHA on you. It's more involved than this, and when I'm not holding the camera, I do it properly, where you roll down the eyelid, the bottom eyelid, the top eyelid, and you can see. Miss Frosty Mom, can I just check your eye? No dice, mister. Move your mice. You pull down the eyelid, you look at the eyelid. If it's nice and pink in there, then you don't really have an issue. What most of the worms do that get into goats is they attach to the stomach lining and they drink the blood. And so when you're seeing a significant blood loss in the body of the goat, then the eyelids, the teeth turn white. No, the eyelids, the gums, the tongue, they become pale because they are anemic. And so what you end up with is a goat with not enough blood in their body to help all the organs function and everything work properly, slows down digestion. Have I lost all my goats? Have they all left? Okay, so here's a little chart of the dewormers that are really most readily accessible and most commonly used in goats. And once you burn through those and your worms on your property and in your goat herd become immune to those, you're gonna start digging a lot of holes. And we try to avoid that. Why don't you just walk over there where she is and So I think we're doing pretty good at that. You guys got a lot of goat trails over here. You're very undecided this year. Got one here, got one there, got one over there. So that's it. That is my take on goats and their weaniness, and they're trying to hide their sickness from you. They don't understand that all you want to do is keep them healthy. All they understand is, I don't want to look weak in the herd because I don't want some coyote to come and eat my face. So it's challenging. It's most important to do FOMACHA checks on a regular basis. I don't know how I missed Mississippi. A lot of times, most of the time actually, I will see a goat acting a bit off. I'm very observant. I'm very observant of our goats and our herd, and I watch them on a regular basis, and I make sure that they're eating, drinking, moving around normally. Never forget that normal is different for every single goat. So it's just a great big circle back around to what I always say, and I know you guys know my phrase, know your goats. And with that, sometimes the fact is you're gonna get a sneaky one that is tough and strong and resilient, and Mississippi is definitely one of those girls that is just like, will give you the finger straight to your face and be like, there ain't nothing wrong with me, bro. And so by the time I caught her being a little lethargic and acting different, she was pretty wormy. So her eyelids were pretty pale, but we did get her treated. We got you straight away. Yes, she's a little easier to see because her white tail, her white butt, her white tail, you could see it right away. Oh, ma'am, act like I abuse you. Seriously? Okay. You're such a dork. You're still cute though. But your white goats are super easy to see when they have an issue with their poop, because it gets all over their tail. I don't know if you can see how that little brown on her tail should not be there. Her tail was pure white like Mr. Snow's. And I saw that on there yesterday, and I was already treating her, and we've got her on the scale too. Got her treated. She's good today. No issues, no poop, no nothing. So that's what we do. That's how we roll. And hopefully that helps somebody out there. And probably the biggest killer of goats, besides their own goofiness. Okay, you can't fix that. But probably the biggest killer in goats would be their hiding worms and dying from worms and parasite load. So, all right, guys. We will go out on Mr. Snow. Oh, tiny thing. Are you going to get up there, tiny thing? This is the reason I don't build a lot of stuff. You can see this. You see this? You see how torn up this tree is? Because these babies love to just find the low-hanging limbs and climb up on there. It's actually really good for keeping their hooves worn down. Rocky soil, rough trees. That tree over there is worn completely down. I've stuck a couple 2x6s across some trees down there, so they have like these little platforms to just toddle across to get to the tree. But yeah, they have this whole creek bank that they run and play on. The boys are in here very temporarily, but they do have a lot of down trees in there that they can play on, a spool that they can play on. They have stuff to jump on and play on. So that is our goaties for the day. And we will see you guys tomorrow.